Hey everyone, welcome back to Bachelor Happy Hour. I'm Joe.
And I'm Serena.
And we are here with none other than the bartender himself, Mr. Wells Adams. Wells, welcome to Bachelor Happy Hour.
Thanks for having me. We are like 12 blocks away from one another, but not in the same room. But I feel close to you guys, you know?
We
Well,
So
I had the door.
appreciate
I
it.
had the door propped open for you because I thought you were walking through it, and then I found out 10 minutes prior that we're doing Zoom. So
yeah, I get it. We live in a Zoom world now, so here we are. But yes, for all the Bachelor Happy Hour listeners out there, I am so close to you guys right now, and I just wish I could give you an actual hug instead of a virtual one. But I'm excited to be on the show. Here's the thing. So, I married you guys. So I got asked so many questions in Paradise, having to do press and stuff of like who my favorite couple is. And it's not just because I married you guys, because it's truly because I love you guys so much, but you guys were always the answer. So I feel like
I like that.
you should know that. And also I would just got to hang out with grocery store Joe on a golf trip, which was just the best.
Yeah, we had fun. I missed you at the blackjack table. I was holding your seat for quite some time, but
Yeah.
we didn't end up playing
Did you
together.
lose money or win money?
I
You're
won
up.
money.
Did
What?
you?
Yeah, I won. We won. We me and Joey won. Um, and Zach, your buddy Zach, he won
Mhm.
as well. We won at that table. And then I left. I don't know what happened later, but the longer you play, I think Dean won too. But the longer you play, the worse you'll do.
Yeah,
So
that's how it works. I mean, those
yeah,
buildings aren't so nice because they're losing a lot. But
yeah,
I like to go play the slots because I'm bad at gambling and I get stressed out when I feel like I'm not doing the right thing. So at some place you can just sit and drink and just max bet, max bet, max bet, and usually kind of end up like around where you started, which is all I need.
yeah. I'm a slot guy as well. I play everything.
Yeah, you
Okay,
play everything.
let's start. I guess let's start kind of at the beginning of what Paradise is now. When you heard the news of like a new location, potentially like a new format, Golden people coming in, where was your head at when you heard the news? And then once you got down there and everything was kind of in the groove and moving.
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you. When I heard that it was coming back, I was just really excited that the show was coming back. I thought it was like a huge travesty that we didn't film last season.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, obviously, I have a bias because I have worked on that show the longest, but I do think that it is the best of the three, and I think it is the most successful of the three. If the mission statement is to try to get people to fall in love and get engaged, maybe get married, like you guys, So I thought that it was a bummer that it went away. And you know how it works in Hollywood. Like if a show kind of gets stopped, it usually never comes back. And
Yeah.
so I just assumed that Paradise was just over forever. And I kind of mourned that loss and then just moved on. So then when I kind of was told by ABC and the production company that it was coming back, I was just excited that it was coming back. One, because I like to make money. And two, because I do think that like Bachelor Nation like wants the show back. So for all those things, I was just super pumped. And listen, I will be the first to admit that change was inevitable with this show. Like, in this world of streamers and, a million different um, companies making reality shows, we're no longer like um, the only game in town. And so I thought it was time that like we switched things up, things got different, tried some new things, maybe went to a different place. So when I heard that the idea was still Paradise, but we're going to do some different things, bring in different people, I was all for it. Um, so yeah, I'm just excited. I was excited to get there. Um, I got to be honest. I wish you guys were able to come down because these kids don't know how good they got it. Okay.
Really?
Uh,
So that's true that because that's what we've been hearing.
dude, they've got their own, first of all. So at the old place, like we would shove all you guys into one room that had
Yeah.
no air conditioning, that had crabs running everywhere.
Yeah.
It was a hot mess express.
Oh
These
yeah.
kids are living the lap of luxury. They've got these rooms that have, there's 2 beds in them with air conditioning, a swim out into the pool that goes straight to my bar.
Yeah, we just heard that there's these like swim out pools attached to the rooms. I'm like, what do you mean they have their
Yeah.
own pool?
Yeah. And then when they would come to the bar and they'd be like, "Man, it's so hot," and like, kind of complain. I'm like, "Shut up! You don't know
Yeah.
how good you got it. All right, we got at the old place. We got people just melting from just makeup coming, like running off their faces, crabs everywhere. So yeah, it was a huge upgrade. Like just completely not an upgrade. Like actually, I really love Playa Escondida. Um, but like for the cast, like they really got hooked up.
Do you think we'll miss? I asked Jesse Palmer this as well. Do you think because the living conditions are more pleasurable or luxurious, we'll miss an element of
Like the distress,
craziness
the
from
physical and mental distress that
from
comes
us
with it?
from the contestants?
Yeah, I will be the first to admit that I think that where we filmed Paradise in the past was an actual character and like a starring one at that.
Yeah.
Similar to like the Bachelor Mansion. There was a season where they did the beginning of the show somewhere else and it wasn't the Bachelor Mansion. It might have been Jen's season. It was someone else's.
Yeah.
And I
It
was
was your
I
like,
think
season.
no, we filmed at a completely different place because it was COVID, but
Oh,
Jen's
yeah,
Jen's
season did
season.
night
Yeah.
one at
Yeah.
like another rental house in the same
Yeah.
area,
Yeah.
which, was bizarre. And then they immediately started traveling, and you did kind of miss that like magnetic night one feel of like we're back. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And like all the places, like for the old Paradise location was like we knew where people came down, like the stairs you came down. My bar was very iconic, like the pool
mhm.
was a place. People started getting the jargon of like jungle path and like all this stuff that we would say. So I do think that there will be like especially like the Bachelor Nation like stands, like the OGs are gonna be like, but I miss, this character that I fell in love with, over 8 seasons or what, or 9 seasons. Um, but I will say that like I got to see a lot because a lot of times they're filming and I can see the cameras, I can see like the screens and everything. Um, we got all new cameras, like all this new equipment, and the show looks so cool, like so different, so clean. They're using cameras that they use like they make movies with, and like everyone looked so sexy and like good. Like no one was just like sweating their nuts off except for like me and Jesse actually. So yeah, like I think that people are going to be like, it being like rabble, it's different. This is a different place, but then they're going to see it and they're going to be like, but this looks amazing. So
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, everyone's really gonna love this like new direction the show is gonna take you on.
Well, yeah, I don't consider myself a jealous person, but I'm a little distraught over this. I would like to be shown on like 4K cameras. I think I would have looked fantastic,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I
in
looked like
HD.
rough in like 9 out of the 10 episodes of Paradise, but I'm okay. I'm okay with that. That was our experience, and now we're moving on to the next season of the show, the
Yeah.
next season of the show's life.
Yeah. How was the Golden People edition? Like, how did that kind of like work out day one? Or what could you tease about it?
Well, I think I was always concerned with like you throw a bunch of older people into a place that's like really really hot and like
Yeah.
really you remember filming Paradise, like it's really long hours, and I was just like I don't know if this is like good for that like their health, um but it was funny. I was so wrong. um the golden, when they come in, they bring so much energy to the entire show that I even said it. I was like to the younger cast, I was like, you guys should be embarrassed how much energy these guys are bringing in comparison to what you were bringing for the show right before they got here. Um, and also they were so down to play and like have a good time and like not take it too seriously because I think in their minds, they're like, I'm on a vacation. Like, this is a free, you know, like, this is just a free vacation. This is awesome. Whereas, you know, everyone else is like stressing and like worried about how they're going to look on the show, you know, all that kind of stuff, which is very understandable. And like, I've been there, so I get it. But, you know, the Goldens are just like, dude, we're in Costa Rica. The food's free. The booze is free. You know, like, this is awesome. And like that mentality became really contagious. And then all of a sudden, like the entire cast was like brought up. So it was very cool to have them there. I hope that we never don't do a season with Goldens. Like, they were my favorite thing that we did.
What was the first season? Who was the first season that you were the bartender on? What season was that? Do you remember?
It was season 4. It was the season we shut down for like 20 days. So yeah, I remember it vividly, but I was on season 3, so you know, I remember what it was like.
From season 3 and 4, like, do you now, you know, being there and being able to go into the control room and being the bartender and observing, do you see a difference in like the attitude of the contestants as far as like I feel like the Golden people probably brought that like I don't give a fuck mentality of like I don't really care how I come across on social media or how this is gonna look like,
or just don't even have like that lens.
Yeah.
Because they didn't like grow up with that.
Do you see see a big difference in that?
I've got like a whole theory on this because I've seen it go from like when I was peers with everyone to now like I'm kind of like the older like uncle or something. I do think that the Goldens are unfiltered because, you know, a lot of people are like, my parents are going to watch this, my grandparents are going to watch this, and I don't want them to like be like, you know, disappointed with me. And like for the Goldens, they're like, my parents are gone, you know, like I don't care if they see, you know, like
their
they're
children
not trying
are
to
grown. Like they don't have to send their kid to high school tomorrow and like have them be bullied for like their parents' actions.
100%. So I think that, you know, it's unfair to say to compare the two because their life experience is so much different than the younger ones. But I did think I noticed it. I was like, yeah, you don't care because your grandma's not watching this and like going to be upset at Thanksgiving, you know?
That's so true. That is so true. And like, even like, and like, I remember being on the show, being employed at the time while I was filming the first one, being like, okay, like I have to be able to, you know, go back to my job. My dad doesn't even really want me here. Like, got to make sure I don't do anything like off the wall to upset him. Like, if you're 70, you're like, literally, who cares?
See, I never had any of that. I didn't really care.
Well, yeah, you have a different family dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I've now met both of your families and totally understand both of those mentalities.
Big Joe was like, just don't cry,
Yeah.
Joe. And that was his only requirement.
And then like if you get in some trouble, like I got
Punch
a
him in the
guy that can
face.
help you that can fix this. But for the younger you know, cast members or, you know, whatever you want to call them, beachgoers, I've seen this kind of this change in the people that are coming there, and I think it has a lot to do with social media. You know, when I went on the show, social media was very new. Like Instagram was very new, and it was like Twitter was like the thing that like people like talked about the most. And now that I've, you know, done this for 10 years and I'm seeing all these young you know, beachgoers have lived the majority of their life curating their own reality TV show vis-a-vis their own social media, which I feel like I didn't do. I didn't know that was a thing, and I wasn't so concerned about it, and I wasn't like producing myself to make sure I looked at this certain way or presented this certain way. So I do think that there is a thing with, you know, the Gen Z of it all being hyper aware of how they're being perceived. And I totally understand it. But sometimes I feel like it precludes them from really, really allowing themselves to have the best experience they possibly can because they're nervous about how it's going to look, which is totally understandable. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, go on the date. You know, who knows what's going to happen? Like allow yourself to really lean into this process. And so usually the people that like that like hold back and are very concerned about that. They just don't last very long because they're not
Yeah.
making connections, and people are like, dude, we're out here having fun, you know? And so usually the cream kind of rises to the top, but it's something that I found was very interesting of like this new generation. Of course they're going to be like they don't want to go to the boom boom room because they would never do that on their TikTok, you know, like they would never show that. And if they were, they're going to go on OnlyFans and make $1 zillion. And you know, so yeah, we just like live in a different world, which is it's still fun to do the show. It's just different.
Yeah, I think it's also like to what you said, like people have the ability to go on social media and control their own story and how it's perceived and the narrative and how it's shared. And they have so much control over what they put out there for the world to view. Then going on the show, I feel like people struggle to like let go of that. They still want to control it. And it's like, you can't come in here and control it. That's just, this is a totally different form of media and you have no control here. And you have to lean into that.
Yeah, totally.
Uh, out of the day one cast, which has been released,
Mm-hmm.
who who are you most excited for? Who are you, like excited to see, surprised?
So I think that the person that like kind of jumped out off the page for me is Dale. Um, you know, and if you don't remember, Dale was the one who got engaged to Claire in like 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, he kind of got a bad shake, right? Like he didn't get the experience that we all had on the show. Like he went on it for a couple days, then it was like a whirlwind, I'm sure, and then you know it didn't work out. And I don't think that like I never perceived him as like a bad guy or a villain or whatever. Like no matter how it shook out, um, I think he got caught up in the whole thing. And so for me, I was like, oh, I hope that he comes and finds something because he didn't really get the opportunity the first time around. You know, like what winner of the show has only been on 3 episodes? Like that's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Um,
How long did they last?
I,
Do you remember?
I think a little bit.
A couple months?
I would think
yeah,
longer than that. I think they were like
Like 6 to 8 months?
yeah, I would say around the year, but
Okay.
I don't know. I'm totally guessing.
yeah. I mean, I just know it didn't work, and so for me, I was like, I'm rooting for this guy. Like, I want him to have a good experience, um, because I think he's a nice guy. I think he's very handsome. I think he's very smart. Like he's you can tell he is like successful and stuff. So I'm like, you kind of fit all the boxes of like an someone that would be very desirable in this place, right? Now, the only thing that was a little different with him compared to everyone else is that he was a bit older. He was like the elder statesman there. So I was worried that, you know, him being like maybe in like a little bit different of a age bracket would hurt him. So yeah, I was excited. I was excited to see Dale. I became close with Dale. And I'm excited for everyone else to like kind of see his journey. I've got to be honest with you, like I'm so excited Kat's back. Like Kat is like one of my
Yeah.
favorite people in the world, and she's just so good at making TV, and not because she is like easily produced or like, you know, wants to ham it up. She just comes at it so authentically of who she is. She's
Mhm.
a little neurotic, you know, like bugs scare her. Like this is not the greatest place for her. She's loud. But to me, that's like it's so funny. And so like I
Yeah.
want her back on my TV. And so when I saw her come back, I was like, hell yeah. She's also just like beautiful. And like the one thing about this show, and that's why like I don't know how many years I got left on it because I'm going downhill, but like people look so beautiful on this show. Like I remember sitting across the bar and looking at you guys, and I'm like, this is unfair. Like how pretty these two people are. And so yeah, when you see, and especially on these new cameras, it's like I was just like, man, everyone looks so freaking good. So I'm excited for everyone to kind of experience that. Oh, I'm a big Justin Glaze fan. I have known him now for a while. I was sad that him and Susie didn't kind of work out because I thought they were really, really cute. Um, he just is like a genuinely awesome guy to be around. I've like gone out with him in LA a bunch of times, and so I'm like really rooting for him. I'm really excited that he's there. And then yeah, there's like all these new faces that I was excited to see. Like Spencer is like maybe he looks like Clark Kent. I think I called him Clark Kent for like the entire time he was on the show. Like he grew his hair out, and then he would have that like little curl that would come down, and he would wear his glasses, and then but he's also 6'5", 280, 0% body fat. I was just like, who is this guy? So I think the ladies out there are going to be excited to see Spencer running on the beach. And yeah, like people that I didn't get to know a lot on the show from watching it that I got to know on the show bartending, like Alex and Bailey and Hakeem. It was nice to meet those guys and kind of form a relationship. And yeah, that I was excited for everyone there, but those are the ones that I was really pumped about. And then also Sam, this might be controversial. I don't know if it is or not, but like I'm rooting for Sam a little bit because Sam, yes, he did say like make the main thing the main thing, and he had like a bunch of
Forgot about that.
He had a bunch of catchphrases that were like, dude, where did you get this from, a Cracker Jack box? Which I get, but and then he like went after Devin. But he was kind of right about Devin. Like, here's the thing. Like I feel like he wasn't wrong. And I felt like he got like roasted for kind of being right. And so like I kind of, like you guys know this as well as anyone, is that like no one's coming to paradise because everything worked out on the last show, right? Like it's a redemptive story for everyone. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I'm like, yeah, I think Sam deserves a little bit of like a different experience, because yeah, I don't know if I think he was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some things that he should leave on Jen season, and then there's some things that he ended up being right about. And I feel like I'm always like rooting for the underdog in paradise. Like I'm always rooting for the person who like it didn't go great on their season, and like this is their time to turn it around. Have you seen any like theories or predictions online that you're like, whoa, that's not it at all, or like, that's kind of close?
I haven't seen any theories. I saw that like the cast had been leaked places early, and and that annoys me because it's like, first of all, with the turnaround so quick, it's like we just finished.
I don't even know how it's leaked.
There were a couple ones that I saw that said like some people were coming to the beach that was not right, and that makes me happy because I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like that person's not there, and sometimes I'm like, I wish they were there, but no. That's the only thing that I've seen that has been wrong.
Going back to day night one, or just like the beginning of this season, any advice that you were giving out? Do you remember, did anybody like walk up to you and ask you like, what should I do here, or how should I go about this journey?
The advice thing was such a big part of my kind of like original role, right? Like Joe and I had so many of those talks, and that's kind of what Hannah's doing now, is that she's kind of like paradise relations, and like if you need a date or something, or you need an ear to talk to, like that's what she's doing. So I didn't do a lot of that like I have in the past. But yeah, there were a couple people that I gave some advice to that I was right about. I can't spoil anything, but sometimes people get caught up in other people's perceived notions of people, and it kind of happens naturally where you kind of band together and kind of gang up. And there was a time in which I had to sit some people down to be like, okay, so from where I'm sitting, I think you guys are wrong, and I think that you need to think of how this is going to be perceived. If there was a secret that no one told, yeah, but you're in an interview telling about it, but you can't tell the person, like that's not right. That doesn't seem right. And yeah, so it was I think a lot of my advice is like, I've got the 30,000 foot view of the whole thing, and I've also got everyone else's, their perception of it being told to me, and I have no skin in the game other than like I love these people and I want them to find love. But like, yeah, the stakes are really low for me. So it's more of like, I just want to make sure you look good on TV. And sometimes people are like making bad decisions. And I'll just be like, just so you know, I think that this is going to probably look bad. And when you say that to somebody who does not want to look bad, then they, they think about it a little bit. It's more of like, just like, are you being empathetic right now? Like, are you putting
Yeah.
yourself in that person's shoes? Just do that real quick. And a lot of times people like will see the light.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Ears perk up when you say, "Hey, you kind of look like a dick."
Yeah.
They're like, "What? What do you mean?"
Oh yeah. I wish I could tell you. I got two people who were like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah. Well, have you thought about it this way?" And they're like, "Oh, you're right. Okay. Well, oh."
We see Hannah Brown's coming down to join you this year. We've kind of heard a little bit about her role. Was any part of you when she got cast like, Hannah, so happy to have you. This is going to be amazing. Stay away from my bar. This is my zone. Best of luck.
No. I mean, I think it's really good to have a female voice there, especially when half the cast is female. So yeah, like no, I mean, like I was like, yeah, you can bartend, but can you bartend? Like, are you able? Like when we had
Yeah.
Yuki on the show, she couldn't do it, and I was like, dude, you gotta get out of here.
Well, and the space, I don't know what your new bar looks like, obviously, but like your old bar was a one-person bar. Like, I
Yeah,
don't think fitting another person back there logistically would have worked.
yeah. So yes, she like her role really like on rose ceremonies especially um was like she had a champagne cart, so like kind of like when everyone would come out, the same thing. It's similar in like everyone walks out, like we used to walk across the beach and stuff. And then she
Oh,
would be the
yeah.
first person that would greet kind of everyone with champagne. And you could, do the toast, the whole Bachelor thing.
Oh, I didn't, we did interview her and I didn't put together that was the replacement of like the walk to the beach, the champagne toast, the kickoff the night of the rose ceremony. That makes sense.
Yeah. And so that was nice that she did that, because getting champagne for like 25 people or whatever it is always a pain in the butt. And if like that's like your only thing, that's great. But what's hilarious is that someone will be like, Hannah, I need to talk to you about so and so. And then she would leave her post, and then people will come to me and be like, can I have some champagne? I'm like, there is a person who is supposed to be doing this. I'm over here supposed to be like making your pina coladas. So
she was saying that. She's like, yeah, no, like I was getting distracted. I couldn't open the champagne. People are looking for the champagne. They're also trying to talk to me.
Yeah. So there was like multiple times when like she would come and talk to someone who like really needed help at the bar, right? And then someone would come up and be like, "Can I get a champagne?" And I'd be like, looking straight at her, being like, "What is going on here?" Like, but it was all like in very good fun. It was just funny to me that like, yeah, she was like, I got more important things to do. You do
like,
the bartending.
Wells, they need a champagne.
Yeah. Then I make her drinks, and I'm like, what's happening here?
She's like, I'll have a champagne too.
Yeah.
Actually, if you're making them.
What is one element that you miss from the old show, and one that you're glad is no longer there?
Oh, okay. Okay. This is what I miss the most is that Sayulita, where we stayed at Playa Escondido, the old place, had the best sunsets I've ever seen in my entire life.
They did. It was insane.
And so I come from California on the coast, so like I love a sunset. And so I just remember, and I'd sit there a lot of times like right before my shift, and I'd like have a beer and watch the sunset, and I'd always FaceTime Sarah, and I'd be like, you got to see this sunset, because the sun didn't set the same place for the new resort. Like it was, it didn't set in the ocean. Yeah.
That's actually a huge bummer. I actually have been thinking about that. And like I wonder if they
That was my favorite
still
thing
have
is I
sun-
would
but
sit there
you
and watch.
posted a photo of a sunset at one point, I think. You or Jesse did. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
they do have sunsets on the beach at night. But yeah, you would watch and I would go shower and I would shower and there was a window. There was like a hole in the wall
Yeah.
in the shower in the girls' room. And I don't know why it was like maybe a little bit after when people were going and it was quiet and I would just watch the sunset and I was like, this is like really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think the thing that I'm happy about not being part of the show anymore, I don't. I think it's good that there's air conditioning for.
Yeah.
Like we're not trying to torture anybody, and especially now we got some Goldens there. But with the room situation, it's a little different, right? Like it used to be all the girls slept in the same bunk area and all the boys slept the same thing, and now that is different. And so
Is
it's
there not boys and girls wings?
they're like two guys would be bunked together and two girls would be bunked together.
Right. But like, you know how
So-
in Sally Lita, it was like you had to go up to the girls' wing
Yeah,
and then like
no.
over. Like I never even saw where the boys slept.
Yeah, no, everyone is kind of living in like next door. It's like two girls, and like next door after that is two boys and stuff.
Okay.
And like I think maybe it's because I think it's a funny thing to say, but like I loved the boom boom room and like the idea of the boom boom room. And it's
Yeah.
like we're gonna go to the boom boom room tonight. That's such a funny thing to
Yeah.
say. And like and a lot of times people just went to the boom boom room because there was air conditioning in the
Yeah.
boom boom room.
And then everyone would be like, "Can you believe they went to the boom boom room?"
Yeah.
We're all grown
That was the best.
Yeah.
You felt like such a teenager talking about the boom
Yes.
room in the best way.
Yeah, and then there was also the tree house. I don't know if you remember that part
Yep.
of
Yeah.
Paradise. And so like that's kind of that there's no boom boom room. And there's a part of me, it's like that sucks. We got no boom boom room. But we might have something, up our sleeve that is similar, I guess.
Okay.
God,
Boom boom
yeah.
room adjacent.
No
Yeah.
boom boom room.
It's
How
gonna be hard to
upsetting.
kill that lingo.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, new cast, new lingo. Unfortunate.
Exciting times.
Okay. Wells, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and coming on Bachelor Happy Hour. We can't wait to watch you on the upcoming season of Paradise.
Yeah, July 7th. This is the fastest turnaround we've ever had, which is so awesome, I think.
Yeah. I can't believe it.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, and I think that you guys, obviously there's a lot of changes. Things are going to be different, new faces, all that stuff. But I know what happens, obviously, and I have a pretty good barometer of like what I think shows are going to be like really liked, and then maybe
You're
not
usually
so
like
much.
pretty bang on.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of drama. There is a lot of twists and turns. There are some crazy rose ceremonies. Like, just like buckle in, Bachelor Nation, because it's going to be a wild ride.
I love that.
Okay.
Okay. And to all our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to Bachelor Happy Hour. Make sure you download and subscribe.
We'll have new exclusive interviews coming your way as we tee up for the new season of Bachelor in Paradise. So stay tuned. Thanks for listening. Bye.